The sun was brutal over Highway 28, melting the horizon into a mirage of shifting heat and trembling air. The kind of day when even the roadkill sizzled and trucks hissed as they passed like angry beasts. No clouds, no mercy, just long stretches of asphalt cutting through cornfields, the kind of middle-of-nowhere road where power can be flexed unchecked. A place where people didn't expect accountability. Jeremiah Kane didn't pick this road by accident. He had a reason for being here, and he never did anything without reason. His black SUV cruised at a steady speed, quiet, gleaming, and nondescript to the untrained eye. But every inch of it, every VIN number, every document in its glove box was federal, legitimate, unassailable. Kane himself was built like a man carved from quiet storm, tall, calm, dark skin glinting against the interior's soft leather, jaw set like concrete, eyes covered by classic dark lens aviators. His demeanor didn't say much, but it radiated presence. He wasn't someone you asked twice. He wasn't someone who needed to explain. The radio was off. His phone was locked in the console. The only sound was the hum of the tires and the steady rhythm of a man at peace with his mission. That is, until red and blue lights lit up his rearview mirror. Kane sighed, not surprised. This wasn't the first time he'd been stopped for nothing. The badge never made him invisible. Sometimes it made him a target. He pulled over gently, hands visible on the wheel, keeping everything by the book. He'd been trained to do it this way, not out of fear, but out of strategy. Document, survive, and if necessary, respond. The patrol car behind him kicked up dust as it parked aggressively on the shoulder. A figure emerged. White male, early 50s, buzz cut under a tilted highway patrol hat, sunglasses, slow walk, hand already resting on his holster. Kane read it all in one glance. "License and registration," barked the voice before the officer was even at the window. Kane calmly lowered the window halfway. "Good afternoon, officer," he said, voice even and firm. "What's the reason for the stop?" The cop, Sergeant R. Maddox, according to the badge, sneered as if the question offended him. "This is my highway today. You were doing 58 in a 55. Now license, registration, now." Kane said nothing for a beat. Then slowly, he reached for the leather folio resting beside him. From it, he pulled out a badge, gold, federal, accompanied by a laminated ID and a sealed envelope with the words U.S. Marshal Service, Warrant enclosed, printed in sharp ink across the top. He held them out in one clean movement. Maddox stared. His lip curled, then he laughed loud, ugly, and dismissively. "You got jokes, huh? Nice fake badge, buddy. Got it off eBay? That's supposed to impress me?" Kane didn't move. "It's real. I'm Deputy Marshal Jeremiah Kane, badge number 3192KT. You're interfering with an active federal investigation." Maddox's fingers twitched near his holster. "Oh, that right? Well, you can sit right there while I call this in, Jeremiah. Let's see how long you keep up this little cosplay." Kane remained still, his eyes hidden behind his aviators. "Call whoever you like." 15 minutes. That's how long it took. Maddox strutted back to his cruiser, radioing in his smug voice about a possible impersonator. He returned a few times, demanding Kane step out. Kane refused. Another squad car showed up. A second deputy, younger, more hesitant. He looked at Kane's badge, at the warrant, and faltered. "Sarge, I think this might be legit." Maddox cut him off. "Shut it. You think I don't know what's real and what's not? These people—" He stopped himself, glancing back at Kane, are always pulling stunts, all bark, no bite. That was his mistake. Because Jeremiah Kane didn't bark. He didn't need to. He bit hard, and he bit legally. 10 more minutes passed before the local sheriff arrived, sirens blaring. A stout woman with steel-gray hair stepped out of the SUV, expression unreadable. She nodded at Maddox, then walked straight to Kane's window. He handed her the same ID, same badge, same warrant. She studied it, lips tightening. Then she looked at Maddox. "You screwed up, Ronnie." He stiffened. "He's faking. You can't just flash some plastic and—" She cut him off with a look. "I've met Kane before. He's real, and he's on assignment." A silence fell over the road. The sheriff turned back to Kane. "Sorry, Marshal. I'll handle this." Kane finally stepped out of the car, slow and composed. His presence, his silence, it unsettled everyone. He handed her a second envelope. This one was thicker, marked "Confidential, Eyes Only." She opened it. Her face went pale. Inside was a list of names, local officials, judges, deputies, sheriffs, highway patrol. One of those names was Sergeant Ronald Maddox. Kane looked directly at Maddox now. "You're on a federal watch list for racial profiling, falsified reports, and obstruction. I've been assigned to investigate and deliver sealed warrants. I gave you the chance to walk away. You chose otherwise." Maddox's mouth opened, but no words came out. Kane continued. "We've been documenting stops like this. Yours has been recorded from the moment you activated your lights, and now, thanks to your arrogance, you've escalated it into federal obstruction." The younger deputy looked sick. Kane turned to the sheriff. "You'll serve the papers to him tonight. His badge, his weapon, and his records will be in my office by 0800, or the DOJ will make it national." The sheriff nodded grimly. Understood. Kane didn't gloat. He didn't raise his voice. He just walked back to his SUV, got in, and drove off. Behind him, the storm he left behind began to spread. By the next morning, Maddox was off the force, under investigation. His past complaints, previously buried, were reopened. A class action suit was filed by citizens he had wrongfully harassed. And Kane? He kept moving, quietly serving justice in places that thought they'd never be seen. There was no press conference, no medal, no viral video, just quiet consequences. Sometimes revenge doesn't need a roar. Sometimes it wears a badge and drives a black SUV down an empty highway, leaving nothing behind but the echo of justice and the silence of a man who never needed to prove who he was. Because the moment Maddox laughed at that badge, he'd already lost.